So this has been looked at quite carefully, and it's very clear that exclusion from school, from family, from faith-based organizations, in employment, in healthcare, all of these have very negative impacts, both on gender and sexually diverse youth and adolescents as they develop, and then eventually on adults. One of the things that we have really seen in the U.S. Is the emerging data where there has been marriage equality. The longest is in Massachusetts, where we now have 10 years of data, that shows very clearly that offering full rights and protections to same-sex couples has reduced, for example, hospitalizations. It reduces mental health threats. People who are married and have full marriage rights are less likely as they age to be in nursing homes. There's a great deal of data to show that extending marriage benefits or civil unions has the same benefits for same-sex couples as it has for opposite-sex couples, which is that marriage is good for people. It's good for their health, it's good for their well-being, it's good for their mental health, and I think, increasingly we're starting to really see the empirical evidence for that. So the state of our 50 states in the United States with the lowest divorce rate in heterosexual couples is Massachusetts. So the argument that somehow extending marriage benefits to same-sex couples undermines somehow those same rights and benefits for heterosexual couples, there just isn't any evidence for it. And in fact, there isn't in any of the other countries that have done this as well. What you do see pretty good evidence for example, is the children of same-sex couples in virtually all the studies that have been done fare about the same well as opposite-sex couples. They are no more likely to be gay or lesbian than the children of heterosexual couples. So being raised in a same-sex household doesn't seem to have harmful effects on children. And again, the evidence there is overwhelming that nothing is better for kids than coming from a stable home and having loving caregivers, right? So again, extending the marriage benefit to other kinds of couples is good for kids. And it certainly is also good, for example, in the private sector. We have seen that companies that extend same-sex marriage benefits have found very little impact on costs, because in the end these are not so many people. Almost cost neutral in terms of things like employment insurance, health insurance for companies. But on the other hand, very important benefits in terms of people's satisfaction at work, their feeling that their company cares about them, loyalty. I know for myself personally that I'm a professor at Johns Hopkins, and I was involved in the Johns Hopkins debates and discussions that went on for a number of years about extending domestic partner benefits to same-sex couples. And in the end, the university did it. It was virtually cost neutral. And the benefits are seen in things like retention, long-term retention of faculty, recruitment, the ability to recruit top quality people because they want to come to an institution that extends civil liberties and civil rights. So, there again have not been any data to suggest harm, but rather a pretty consistent picture that this is a relatively cost-neutral thing to do with a number of social benefits.
Mm-hmm.
So the Universal Declaration of Human Rights of 1948, one of the most fundamental rights, which is explicitly there, is that all adults have the right to choose whom they want to marry, and that everyone has the right to found a family. That is fundamental. Now, when that was drafted, of course, no one was thinking about same-sex couples. The real idea there was to address the problems of forced marriage, of child marriage, of people being, forced into marriages against their will. But nevertheless, the language is explicitly clear that everyone has the right to choose who they want to partner with and marry, and that everyone has the fundamental human right to found a family. And to me, we are always struggling in all of our societies to extend universal human rights until it really means what it's supposed to mean, that everybody has the right. So I see it absolutely as a fundamental human right. It is the right to love who you want to as an adult, and to choose to commit to that partner if that is what you want. It's not for everyone. Marriage is not for everyone of any sexual orientation or gender identity, but for the couples who want it, they ought to have the right to do it.
Excellent. Thank you very much.